poppin'? It's your boy, Simeon Russell, and I'm here to talk about the New York Knicks versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Because, again, we blew a 19-point lead. What's up, Ishmael? A game that we should have had in the bag. A game that was ours for the taking, and we blew it. How much more can we say? You know what I mean? The Knicks had a 19-point lead in the first half. They had a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. Looking at the stats right now, they scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. Exactly, James. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, Michael, you say you're not watching anymore this season. Gotta stick with them, bro. I mean, let's be honest. We began the season not expecting to be very good. So the way that we're playing, what we do, probably shouldn't be a surprise. But when we started playing well, of course, we say, okay, this team can do it. And now here we go again. You know, yeah, exactly, Steven. History repeats itself. And what makes it so bad is I could literally say to myself what was going to happen. I'm sure all of you did the same thing. We could predict it. We knew what was going to happen. We knew we were going to get in the fourth quarter and it was all going to go kaput, right? We play with no hunger. That's my exact word, Steven. We play with no hunger whatsoever. You know, same thing, different game. It's very predictable. You know, AD went out, got loose on us. AD had 48 points, 17 rebounds. You know what? You expect something from a guy like AD because that's what AD does. For guys that's logging in and anyone that's new on the stream, I just want to chime in. This is not my regular digs. As far as the studio is concerned, I'm not in the studio. I won't be back into the studio until Tuesday night. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Albany, outside of Albany, New York right now. You know, so, you know, I'm broadcasting from the road. Wednesday night's game, I'll be back in the stew. Yeah, and I have the regular thing up. But I'm always going to, you know, I got to keep it true. But back to the game. Anthony Davis, 48 points, 17 rebounds. You know, he was a monster today. DeMarcus Cousins, 15 points, 16 rebounds. You know, decent. Drew Holiday, 31 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Not to mention, DeMarcus Cousins also had 5 assists. You know, so, you know, we let Drew Holiday get loose. I mean, you say Frank is not ready. Let me see that again. Frank is not ready at all. He wasn't what the team needed. I mean, yeah, but you know what? We can't. I don't know if it's one person that we can blame. You know, it's a team thing. As a team, we don't have the right mentality. You know, we're missing some ingredients. That toughness, that roughness, that hunger. That's a key ingredient that we're missing as a team. New Orleans came in, played lazy. Bad coaching, you know, and we're starting to hear this theme over and over again. We're starting to hear it. You know, rotations, when he decides to play players, et cetera, how he's using players, etc. You know, Kristaps Porzingis in the fourth quarter scored 0 points. You know, as the coach, this is when you really kick in. You know what I'm saying? As a coach, you got to make the adjustments to get Porzingis open. You know, that's what has to be done as a coach. You know what I mean? And right now, we're not seeing those type of things from Jeff Hornacek. We have talent but no direction. You know, I feel like Jeff Hornacek, I don't know, maybe he's not exactly sure where to go next with this particular team. Maybe he doesn't have what we need right now to push us over the hump, because I believe that we have the talent, and I'm not saying that we have all world talent to be, a 50-win team right now, but I believe that based on what we've seen earlier in the season, we had enough talent to be, 41, 42, 43 win team. What we're missing, again, like we said, hunger, that toughness coming down the stretch. And then we're also missing the adjustments. Earlier in the season, teams didn't know what the Knicks were going to do. Because the team was so new, and there were new players, new schemes, and those type of things. Teams didn't know what we were going to do. So it was easier. Games were easier. As the season went on and there were things on tape, other coaches began to scheme, began to plan. And we haven't adjusted to those schemes, to those plans. We just haven't adjusted to those things. And that's on the coaching staff. That's on the assistant coaches. Of course, players, they've got to rotate. Players, they've got to adjust as well. They got to adjust to how referees are playing. They've got to adjust to how other teams play against them. But the coaching staff, they've got to put the plan and put the game plan together, put the schemes together. And I'm not seeing it happening right now with the Knicks, man. And it's becoming tough. It's becoming rough, because it's not good enough to say we're not that far away. No moral victories to me. Even though we're a young team, if we always rely on moral victories, then we're always going to be we're that close. It's always going to be like that. We're that close. If there's always moral victories, we've got to pull these things out. We're right. I understand what he's saying when he says we're right there, but how many times are we going to be right there? We got to pull these things out. We need a killer at the end of games to pull these things out. I've had a few people kind of not get on me, but oppose me talking about KP and maybe him not having what we need. But, he showed it again. He showed it again tonight. Well, no, in the overtime, he made some plays in the overtime. But we needed him to finish this game off in the fourth. We should have finished this game off in the fourth quarter. We should have needed overtime for this game. KP, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 5 steals, 2 blocks. That's a decent stat line. Shot 41.7% from the field. We need better shooting than that. We need KP to be that closer. Somebody's got to be the closer. Jarrett Jack, 22 points. Most of those points came in the first half. 8 assists. Good stat line. Not a closer. Tim Hardaway, 25 points. 8 for 17 from the field. 5 rebounds. 3 assists. Good stat line. Didn't close the game. He also needs KP, Tim Hardaway. They also need help closing these games out. Hornacek, he's got to help him close these games out with his schemes, with his adjustments. Right now, we're stuck in this rut. We're stuck in this rut where we're just not going to be, we don't look confident. We look nervous, like someone said, nervous in the fourth quarter. We're in a bad rut. And we need something to happen. If it's going to happen now, we need something to spark us. Tony, you say this was sickening. 7-game road trip ahead. If we don't go 5-2 or better, it's trade the vets, play the youth. But Jeff has to start teaching these guys how to close out games and win. I'm with you 100%, Tony. 100%. Jeff has got to start teaching these guys how to close the games out. 5-2 should be realistic for us during this stretch, right? Our next game is Brooklyn, in Brooklyn. Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis. Utah Jazz in Utah. The Lakers in LA. The Warriors in Golden State. Denver in Denver. Then we play Phoenix in Phoenix. And then we close out the month with Brooklyn in New York. For sure, we can go 5-2. We should be able to go 5-2. But we're not sure with this team anymore. You know, this team is not the same team that started at the beginning of the year. It's a totally different team. We have a totally different mentality. We have, you know, some of the intangibles that we thought we had at the beginning of the year, we're proving not to have. New Orleans was a team tonight that came in lackadaisical, looked like they didn't want to play basketball, like they didn't want to play an early game, and we let them off the hook. So now we're 5 games under 500, the worst of the season. And we've got a hill to climb to get it back. 5-2, and we would still be under 500. You're right, we'd still be under 500, but we'd be, you know, we would close out the month strong. And, you know, we'd be coming into the end of this horrendous stretch on the road. And we'd be able to, you know, maybe start to get it back. But we've lost the last 4 in a row at home. You know what I mean? So we don't even have home court as a crutch right now. Right now, well, we don't have a crutch. We're searching. We're looking for answers, and we're not finding them. We need a true leader, Clever. Clever for sure. You said we need a true leader. You know, I agree with you. We do. Well, you know, Jarrett Jack is supposed to be that leader. He was supposed to be that leader. Well, in the beginning of the year, he wasn't supposed to be that leader. He became that leader. Now, you know, he played decent tonight, 22 points. But he's got to do a better job as well directing us in the fourth quarter. He's had some turnovers in the fourth quarter. Jarrett Jack tonight, 5 turnovers for Jarrett Jack tonight as a point guard. He should be doing a better job than that. He knows how to control the ball better than that. Who's Mark? You said we need a point guard to break down defense. We don't break down defense. Why Drew Holiday killed us. We don't break down defense. Drew Holiday breaks down the defense, and that's why they killed us, because Drew Holiday broke down the defense. I don't know if our inability to break down the defense is the reason why Drew Holiday killed us. Our bad defense is the reason why Drew Holiday killed us. But we need to break down that defense, and we're not breaking down the defense. Of course, I know some probably was hoping that Trey Burke was going to play today, but it only makes sense that he wouldn't play yet. You know what, Ray Mel, I'm not even going to get to this whole Dennis Smith Jr. thing. Look, Frank is not going to tear it up every night. He's going to have bad nights. He's going to have stretches like this. That's the way it is in the league. That's the way it is. Look, if we had Dennis Smith Jr., I can guarantee you we probably would be going through this stretch as well, because he doesn't even play defense. So we'd be going through this stretch as well. Drew Holiday would have still had 31 points on us, if not more. You know, so, you know, it is what it is. We're a team, you know what I mean? And we've got to address it as a team. We can't try to pinpoint one person. We've got to pinpoint things that we don't do well, and things that we do, things that we don't do well, things that we do well. Try to fix the things we don't do well. Continue to get better at the things we do well. One of the things that we're not doing well is breaking down the defense. I get that. And there's ways that we can There's ways that we can break down the defense. We're trying to address it with Trey Burke. We'll see how that works. Because Jarrett Jack is not going to break down the defense in that way. He doesn't have the speed. He's not old. He's too old. He's old right now. His knees aren't really there. He's 34, 35 years old. He's just not going to have the speed. But we need answers. Right now we're getting more questions than answers every game. More questions than answers every single game. And it is definitely getting frustrating. From somewhere. We need a spark from somewhere. And I'm not sure exactly where that spark is going to come from. Because we've exhausted almost everyone on our team. Except for Trey Burke, obviously. Because he just got here. We should look to see Trey Burke maybe start to get some minutes as we go along. The Knicks play tomorrow. He probably won't get minutes tomorrow unless there's a blowout of some sort. Maybe after a practice Tuesday, maybe you see him get in a little bit Wednesday. Probably not. It may take a little bit of time before we see Trey Burke actually getting some burn. But hopefully when he does play, he'll be able to provide exactly what we need. Breaking down the defense, kicking the ball out, some scoring punch. We scored a ball. We scored 118 points. Of course, we went into overtime. In overtime, we scored, how many points did we score in overtime? 9 points in overtime. So we scored 109 points of regulation. That's not bad. But we don't do it with punch. It's methodical most of the time. Sometimes we have a little bit of punch. Tim Hardaway is helping us to bring that punch back. Because we did have some punch in the beginning of the year. And then we started to get stagnant. We need to bring that punch back. We need someone that's going to bring that punch back. And by a punch, I mean attacking, scoring quick. And when we score, it's exciting. You know what I'm saying? That is what I mean by punch. So we don't have that right now. But we need a little bit of that, especially when we got young guys. We need a little bit of that punch. We talked about it the last time when I was out there walking Penn's Landing in Philly on how we don't really, we don't do any plays that are fun for the kids and those type of things. So we need some punch. Rudy Tay, you said we can't play Trey now, asking the question. We don't have a point guard that's not replaceable. Are you asking a question? Are you asking if we cannot play Trey now? Or are you saying we can't because we don't have a point guard that's not replaceable? I mean, I think, he hasn't really had a chance. Maybe he practiced with these guys a little bit, but he hasn't really had the chance to really mix himself in. So I think it's going to take a little bit to mix himself into the game, into the team, and build a little bit of chemistry, knowing what some guys want to do before he puts him out there. You say KP has done this. Tony Crow, you say KP has done this the past 3 seasons. Started strong, gets tired. When he gets a second wind, then gets a second wind. Then, if we're not in the hunt for the playoffs, sit him to the end of the season. Yeah, he has. And, we chopped it up the last 2 years to him being young. And then, of course, we're going to chop it up this year to him finally being the man on the team and having to deal with the mental stress of being the guy, the physical stress of being the guy. Sooner or later, the excuses he's gonna run out of excuses, and he's just gonna have to do it. We got to continue to give him that breathing room. You know what I'm saying? We got to give him that breathing room to be able to learn, because it is a learning year for him. Although we have as much right as anyone, and Breen talked about it a little bit in the broadcast today. That this is his first year being the number 1 option, and people are kind of judging him, but we can do that. You know what I'm saying? When you accept that role, you accept everything that comes with it. And being judged on your play is part of it. And we know he's young and has a lot to learn. But, you know, it's part of it. KP isn't an all-star caliber player yet. I don't know about that. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. You know, he on a so-so night, he scored 25 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And that's actually more assists than he usually gets. Shot 41.7% from the field, 24 field goal attempts. I don't know. In the beginning of the season, I thought he was a sure shot. It's questionable right now. I'll give you that. It's questionable. He disappeared when we needed him. You're right, Mike. He disappeared when we needed him. And I mentioned that earlier in the stream. He did. He disappeared. He wasn't there. 0 points in the fourth quarter. Scored a few points in overtime, but if he was there to finish that out in the fourth quarter, we're not having this conversation. Less minutes for Lance, Lee, and Jack. Well, definitely Lance. I'm going to say Jack as well. I'm not sure with Lee. I know Lee hasn't been playing as well as he was earlier in the season. He's, and he's fell into some ISO type of stuff. I think with Tim Hardaway back, it'll change. It might change, hopefully, when things fall back into. Hopefully, things will fall back offensively, fall back into play. I'm not saying that means we're gonna go on a big winning streak, because we still have to get. This is still some intangible things that we've got to get over. You feel me? I just want to look. The French Unicorn. You say KP is definitely our best player. Maybe he is, but that doesn't mean that. We can't discuss or say whether or not he's a number one option or a Batman to someone's Robin. He may be our best player. Maybe so. But that doesn't mean, just because he's our best player, it doesn't mean that he's a number one option in the league, right? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He still has to develop. We're still looking to see if he's going to become that number one option. Right now, maybe he's not. Maybe he's the number one option on our team, but on a bona fide championship team, yeah, we know he's 22 years old. We get that. But does that mean that we're not able to judge his progress right now because he's 22 years old? I mean, if he's the guy that everyone says that he can be, if you compare him to other guys that were greats in this league at 22 years old, they were a bona fide Batman on their team. You know what I'm saying? They were a bona fide star. Bona fide. There was no more questioning, is he going to be an all-star or is he an all-star? They were that. Not everyone. Everyone takes a different road. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying to you is that we know that he's 22 years old. We know that he needs more time to develop. This is his first year being the leading guy on the team. Some of these other guys came in as the lead guy, and he's got to learn. I get that, but it doesn't mean that we can't evaluate his progress. We should evaluate his progress. We should be looking, because we know he has the talent, but our question is, does he have the intangibles? There's a lot of people that in the league that have the talent. A lot of people in the league have the talent to be the talent. But listen to what I'm saying. Has the talent to be a number one option. It doesn't mean that they have the intangibles to be a number one option. You know what I'm saying? I love debating too, French. I love debating. You know what I mean? So I love it. Tevin Brown. Oh, I love you for that, bro. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And when I say I love you, that's in the, the warmest of of senses. So, you know, we keep that there. But what I'm saying is, you say, oh, let me read that back. You say KB's progress is on point. He gets better every year. I agree, he does. He gets better every year. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, this is a different year for him. This is a year where maybe he wasn't. And like I said, every player takes a different course, but we reserve the right to evaluate his progress, to see where he is, and to talk about if he has the intangibles. Because players, you know, Dirk probably had some certain intangibles that led him to be a franchise player. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, they all have certain intangibles that lead them to be franchise players. We reserve the right to judge or evaluate whether or not KP has those same intangibles. You know, because all those guys, I mean, if you look at Kobe, you knew you get the ball to Kobe in the clutch, Kobe was going to be a killer. He was going at you, and he struck fear in a lot of players. And in 19, 21, 22 years old, he struck fear in a lot of players. You know what I'm saying? Does KP strike fear in guys like that right now? I don't know. Are guys like, I mean, you look at Wesley Matthews. He wasn't afraid of KP. He was pushing KP around. You know what I'm saying? You said Kobe was trash his first few years. He didn't play his first year. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about whether or not he was a bona fide star. I'm talking about whether or not he had the intangibles. And not one person, if you've seen Kobe play his first few years, not one person can tell me he didn't have those intangibles. You could see the intangibles. You could see it from high school. You know what I'm saying? You can see the killer instinct in him. I mean, I've seen him play in high school. You could see it. He had it. The question is out, and I think it's a valid question to ask. We're not saying he's a finished project. Not by far. I'm not saying that, Mark. I'm not saying he's finished. We know that he's got a lot to do and a lot. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens when you're not in the studio, man. But when I get back in the studio, we'll be good. You know what I'm saying? You know. But what I am saying is, you know, we reserve the right to look at his progress. Yeah, you for sure with that. We reserve the right to look at his progress, man. We reserve that right. Am I kidding? No, I'm serious. I'm not kidding you. I'm serious. You know, because if you accept being the man, you accept being the number one option, then you got to accept everything that comes with it. And part of being that number one option, part of being the man on the team is accepting the criticism that might come with it. You know what I mean? And that's part of being mentally tough. Every player, I can guarantee you, every number one option in New York Knicks history, Mighty Knicks, I appreciate that. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. You're on every show. You always leave comments. I appreciate it. And you know what? I'm going to find a way to reward all you guys, man, for hooking me up. I appreciate that for real. What do you mean, who else is a bona fide threat? I'm not talking about are you saying who else on the Knicks is a bona fide threat? I'm not talking about the Knicks per se. I'm talking about, is KP that guy in the league? And overall, is he that guy? And does he have the intangibles to be that guy? That's my question. Right? Does he have the killer instinct? Does he have the grit and the toughness to pull you out in the fourth quarter? If he doesn't have it yet, will he develop it? You know what I'm saying? And I think those are valid questions. I mean, we can't just hand it over to him. You can't just give it to him. Yes, he does. Michael, you say he does. And you know what? I respect that. I'm not saying that he doesn't. I'm just asking and posing the question. You know what I'm saying? Because he has to prove it. He has to show it. If KP was out there every fourth quarter, pulling down 8-10 points every fourth quarter, and we were still losing, and he was getting those, he just had that killer instinct, and he was taking his in the fourth quarter, I'd be the first one to say, you know what, KP is that dude. We need to get him some help. But I'm not seeing it right now. So my question is he that, and can he develop to be that? Does he have the intangibles to develop to be that? That's my questions about him. You know what I mean? Ishmael, you said, I think KP is the number one option. He's just a little weak. Last time we faced the Pelicans, he brought it out for us. I mean, he did. But it's not like he went and took it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he went and took it. You know, there was some things that had to happen for him to get some open shots. But that's okay. I'm cool with that. You know, I'm cool with that. Yeah, the first few months, you're right, the French Unicorn, the first few months of the league, he was killing the league. He was killing it. And that is before teams started game planning. But what happens, but this is my point, when you got those guys that are just killers out there, when teams start game planning for them and game planning for how the Knicks or whoever else likes to get them the ball, guess what happens? They say, okay, give me the ball, move out the way. I'm going to go get it. When it's necessary, of course. When it's, you know, and it's not like they just do it to the point where, you know, it's just too ISO heavy. Like, you know, I'm sure people are going to say, well, we don't want them doing that. But there comes a time when you need guys to do it. And those guys that have that kind of killer instinct, you know, they're going to go get it. And it may not be that they have to go get it through scoring. They have that, just that heart and that toughness that, you know, they're gonna go grab rebounds. They're gonna do whatever it takes. And sometimes I'm not sure. You know what I mean, with KP. That's all I'm saying. I'm not sure, and I'm looking for him. I'm looking to see it, and I'm tough. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tough when it comes to it, because I've been around a while. And I've seen some of the best do it. I'm not saying up front personally. I've seen some of the best do it, though. I've seen some of the best college guys do it personally. I've seen some of the best do it in the NBA. You know what I mean? You know, like you all have seen on TV, whatever. And so, you know, I think the question is fair. I think the question is fair. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he can't. I don't want you guys to get that twisted. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying that he doesn't have the intangibles. I'm just asking whether or not he's going to develop it, because there's some intangibles that, like, I don't see the killer instinct right now. I don't see the killer instinct. That's one thing I don't see that toughness that I believe that he definitely needs. I'm sure he can. Hopefully he can develop it. Can you develop a killer instinct? Answer me that. Is that something that you can develop? Jason Sewell, you say KP will not drop 50 anytime soon. I don't even know. Does he have the mentality? A couple weeks ago, an article came out. Maybe, no, not a couple weeks ago. About a week and a half ago, an article came out that asked whether that posed that made a proposition that European players just don't have that kind of mentality because of the way that they play. And they grow up in a team-oriented mentality versus the U.S. players grow up with more of a killer instinct type of mentality. And we don't know if KP can develop that killer instinct kind of mentality. So is that something that you can develop? Ginobili? Killer instinct is something that you're born with. You either have it or you don't. Siobhan Robinson, thank you. I appreciate it. You say KP can't learn the killer instinct. You know, it's a good question. It's a good question on whether or not players can develop it, or whether or not players can, or you're just born with it. It's the same thing about leadership. Some people say that you're born with leadership. You can't develop it. some people say that you can develop it. You know what I'm saying? It's a good question, because there are people that are just straight up born leaders. And from the time they're young, you know that they're a leader. And people just look at them a certain way. They respect them a certain way with everything that they do. You feel me? Michael, I appreciate that. And I want to let you guys know, man, every time a super chat comes in, it's going straight to the channel, you know, to make the channel bigger and better. I appreciate it. And when I do a recorded stream, I'm going to shout you guys out, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. But, you know, it's always a good question on whether or not you can develop things like leadership and killer instinct. You know, some guys might have a fake killer instinct where maybe they really don't have the confidence, but they feel like they're supposed to shoot the ball at that point. Or they feel like they're supposed to try to take it at that point. And then they end up blowing the game or just making bad plays. You know, we'll see what happens. And maybe he really does have that instinct and he just doesn't have the physical makeup right now for it to work for him. It could very well be. But it's fair to ask the question. It's fair to have the debate. I think. You know, I think it's fair to it's fair to put it out there. You say, does LeBron have a killer instinct, but does that stop him from being LeBron? Yeah, yes, LeBron has a killer instinct. You know what I'm saying? He may not have had it as much as Kobe does, but he has it. You go back and look in history. No? Okay. You go back. He may have, listen, when you get so many chances to be a closer, you're going to fail sometimes, definitely. And LeBron has failed plenty of times. LeBron has went through his troubles in being that killer instinct. And he's had some mental things. Yes, I agree with you. He's had some mental issues and a fear of being the guy to lose the game. But have you ever seen some of the things that he's done in the fourth quarter? If not, then you need to go check the man's history. Listen, I'm not a LeBron James fan. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not a LeBron James fan. I don't like LeBron James, but I'm not gonna say that he's never just decided he was gonna kill a team and go out and murder the team. Come on, man. He definitely has. He's decided that he was going to go get his, and he went and got it. You know? So, yep, I agree. LeBron had Wade to show him how to win. I agree with that, right? Wade showed him how to win. Wade showed him how to... I think LeBron was a leader from the beginning. I think he had killer instinct from the beginning, but Wade showed him how to use it too. You know what I'm saying? He showed him how to, hey, Mike, I never even used LeBron. That was somebody else. Mark brought up LeBron. But Wade showed LeBron how to use his leadership ability. I believe that. I really do believe that. He showed him how to use it. But LeBron was born with some leadership talent, and Wade learned how to be a leader from Shaq too. Excuse me, guys. The mic dropped. Let me get that back up here. See, y'all get me excited out here. Let me get this back on here. All right, there we go. Hopefully everything is clear. A lot of these guys, well, yeah, hey, you know what? I'm going to just hold the mic here. Small mic, but I'm going to just hold it here because it's messing up the shirt. But LeBron, I mean, everyone learned how to utilize their talents a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? From somebody else. Definitely. Drop the mic. Yeah. Everyone learned how to utilize their talents a little bit better from somebody else. Definitely. You know what I mean? But to say that LeBron doesn't have a killer instinct, come on, man. I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? I definitely can't agree with that. LeBron knows how to go out there and when he decides to put the clamps on someone, he can do it. Kobe learned from Shaq too, but Kobe had that. Kobe had that. Kobe had that killer instinct. That was already in him. You know what I mean? I hope we get that dub tomorrow. Kobe learned from AJ. Called him daily. You know what? He may have. You know what I'm saying? And there's some things about these guys, man. It's very hard to explain, right? But there's just some things when you hear these guys talk in interviews and the way that they address their fellow players, the way that they address other players on the court. These guys, they're not friendly. They're coming at you like they're coming to get you. You know what I'm saying? And the younger players. Yeah, I'm gonna be on tomorrow. The younger players, it's a different culture nowadays, right? With AAU and it's definitely a different culture. But some people you can just see that killer in them, and I'm still questioning about KP. And I'm not saying, Mark, KP can't learn it. I'm not saying it cannot be learned. I'm not saying that it has to be, you have to be born with it. I'm asking the question because the reason why I'm not saying definitively is because I don't know. I'm just asking the question, man. And I know, Mark, you are a crazy KP fan. You really like KP. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I get it. I understand it. And that's cool. Tank mode. Now, so then here poses the question, because I've seen a lot of people talk about it already. Do we start to go into tank mode? I think Tony Crow had it right from the beginning. Earlier on, he said, we look at these, we got 7 games, 5 up, we got 7 games coming up. We should go 5-2. And if we don't go 5-2, and I'm never going to say tank mode, if we don't go 5-2, we play the young guys. And he's, I think Tony, is on point. And that's, like we said earlier, that's looking towards the end of this month because it's such a tough stretch. And, if you look at it, we're 5 games under 500. If you look at the end of this month and we're like 8-9 games under 500, are we going to go on a run like Miami did last year? Probably not. Chances are not. I know I heard Mike Breen and Walt Clyde Frazier talking about it earlier, and they said that, the team thinks that they could go on that kind of a run. Maybe. And or Todd, I don't know if that's actually called tanking, though. Because you go with the young guys, but that doesn't mean you're not trying to. I guess you could say it was tanking. I guess you could. You could say that's tanking if you want to. But you have some young guys that could possibly perform just as well as our starters. Maybe they just don't have the experience. And I think you still try to put a plan in place to make the playoffs as you can and win as many games as you can win. What I'm saying by tanking is you don't throw games. For example, let's say that the Knicks decided, okay, we're going to go with the young guys. Okay. And then Damian Dotson start killing. If you were tanking, they might say it's time to sit Damian Dotson down, right? Because he's helping us win games. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because that's what teams did that. Phoenix sat what's his name down last year? Eric Bledsoe. They sat Eric Bledsoe down last year. Like, he was not hurt. They sat him down. You know what I'm saying? So that they could tank. So what I'm saying is, you play the young guys. And if someone is really performing well and they're helping us to win games and we're winning games, then guess what? You let them play. You don't sit them down. That's what I mean by tanking. Tanking to me is when you actually sit people down so that you don't win. You know? So but you know, that's all in the eyes of the beholder, I guess. You know, I mean, I get it. It's all in the eyes of the beholder. But I think you always, even if you decide we're going to go with our young guys, you know, because we're probably not going to make the playoffs, I still think you try to win with those young guys. You try to win. And if someone starts killing, you let them play. But, you know, it's all in, you know, everyone's going to have their different strategy, but I think you always try to win. Who's Mark? I seen you said something, but I forgot. I don't remember what it was. Ishmael, you said just fake tank. Keep doing whatever we're doing. You know what? On it. For real. If we're doing, yeah, you're right. If we do whatever we're doing right now, then yeah, I guess we might be tanking, right? Put Frank in the fire. Yeah, man, I think it's time to just put him out there and let him play. Now, the thing is, he might, you know, he hasn't played well lately, so you can't justify it, you know. But I think you put him out there and let him ball. Let him go ahead and get his. The French Unicorn, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate it. You know, and I'm going to, like I said, next recorded video, I'm going to put up everybody because I really appreciate the support. Yeah, Frank needs to play. Frank needs to get out there. I know, you know, Jeff Hornacek is really trying to pull these wins out and feeling that veterans are going to get it done, but they're not. And if they're not going to get it done, then you might as well let the young guys get out there and try to get it done. If the vets can't get it done, hey. Tony Crow, you say LBJ has disappeared in the biggest moments. What I will say is LBJ makes the right play more times than not, but he is not a killer like MJ. You know what? You're right. He's not that kind of killer, but I still think he has a killer instinct. You know what I mean? I still believe he has wavered. He has been fluky and flaky, for sure. You know what I'm saying? But I think when LeBron James really wants it, he can go get it, and nobody can stop him. You know, and I think he does have that kind of instinct. I don't agree with sending Frank to the D-League, man. I know some people are saying send him to the D-League. I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I think you play him. I think play him. You know what I mean? I think because the reason why I don't believe you send him to the D-League or the G-League is because he's proven that he can play on this level defensively. He may not score 20 points a game, but he's proven that he can be effective on nights, not every night, but he can be effective offensively. You know, and I think he's going through rookie struggles. You know what I'm saying? I think that he will I think he's fine. You know, I think that he can, and I think we could see a different Frank if he started him. You know, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. Damian Dotson, I think they only sent him to the G League because we have Courtney Lee and Tim Hardaway. He could be playing in the league easy. think they only sent him to the G League because we have Tim Hardaway, Courtney Lee. You know, you have a bunch of guys that can play there, and so they sent him there so that he could play. You know what I mean? Damian Dotson goes back and forth between being with the Westchester Knicks and with the regular Knicks. He goes back and forth. And I think the only reason is so that he can play. You know, and because he's not playing with the Knicks. Frank, he's playing. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he would go to the G League and average more points and rebounds and assists than he's doing now, because it's the style of play, it's the way that he plays. That's honestly. Maybe he does a little bit more because he doesn't feel like it's the same type of talent pool or something like that. So maybe he plays a little more aggressive just because of the talent pool that's there. But, so maybe he scores a little bit more. He would because he would get more minutes, obviously. He would get 30 to 40, minutes every game or whatever it is. So then, of course, naturally his statistics are going to rise because of that. But I think that he can play in the NBA. I think he's proven that he can play in the NBA and that he can give to a team in the NBA. So I don't think that it's necessary to send him to the G League because he's going to play. Even though Trey Burke is here, he's going to get his playing time. So I don't think it's necessary. I think that I guess I'll end it with this. If you're able to play, yeah, he might be looking horrible now, but he might tomorrow, he might have 10 points and 6 assists, and we're like, wow, he's looking good. I think that if you've proven that you can play, if you're a young guy like him, and you've proven that you can play on a certain level, then I don't think you really develop that much if you're playing on a much lower level. I think that he'll develop more and develop better by playing on a higher level because he's proving that he can play on a higher level already. Now, this is what I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing him going down. Like let's say the Knicks play on Wednesday and the Westchester Knicks have a game on Tuesday. He plays with the Westchester Knicks on Tuesday and then plays with the Knicks on Wednesday. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I don't think he needs to go there and be there for 2, 3, 4 months. Or to the end of the season or something like that. I think he's just fine where he is. He's gonna have games like that. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna have games where he doesn't score or he doesn't get assists or that he's just not playing well, and he's gonna go through stretches like that. He's a rookie. He's gonna go through stretches like that. Send the entire team to the G League. Man, well, they're acting like it. They're acting like that right now. Mark, you say we average like 20 turnovers too. That's why we lose all our games. Well, we don't average 20. We average about 16 a game. But turnovers in the fourth quarter is definitely a problem. And that's coming from Jarrett Jack too, right? Jarrett Jack is giving us turnovers in the fourth quarter. You're right. It's too much. We shouldn't be averaging that many turnovers, especially when you got a veteran point guard. Shouldn't be averaging that many turnovers. And we turn the ball over at the wrong time as well. Not that I guess there's never a right time to turn the ball over, but if you're going to turn the ball over, turn it over in the first quarter, not the fourth quarter. Turn over, It's a tough situation for the Knicks right now. Tough situation. And, we talked about it weeks ago. We talked about it back in December when the Knicks were doing well. And we all said this was going to be This was going to be the month. This is when we were really going to see what we're made of and what we can do. And we're seeing, I guess we're seeing, maybe we're seeing who we really are. Maybe we're seeing who we really are. Sweet George Peach, he says, sit the starters and play the rookies. I think, yeah, it's make or break time. I think that we wait until the end of this month, though. Like Tony Crow hit it on the head. I think we wait till the end of this month. Tony Crow, you said you can't send Frank to the G League after bringing up a point guard. Now Burke is balling, then make Frank earn his minutes. I agree with that. Make Frank earn his minutes, but Frank has shown his worth. Would like to see Burke go back and forth. Well, Burke's been signed for the season. I guess it doesn't mean that he can't go back and forth. I don't think he'll. Well, I don't know. Let's see what he does. I don't even want to say anything about Burke yet. Let's just, as far as what his production will be like, let's see what he does. I do think that Frank and Burke will play together, and that could be successful. But Tony, I agree with you about Frank in the G League. But like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing him play a game or two down there when it's possible. When it's possible. To get him, to let him play a little bit. One can score. Yep. Who's smart? One can score and one can play defense. Trey Burke can penetrate to the basket and kick. You know what I'm saying? And what I want to see, what I talked about before, is will Trey Burke have an influence on Frank? Trey Burke's ability to penetrate. Trey Burke can get the ball up the floor. He can run a fast break type of game. I'm excited and interested to see how he's going to play with Tim Hardaway Jr. and getting the ball up the floor, pushing the ball up the floor. Maybe we can get a little bit more transition on the floor. But I think that Frank will be able to fit right into that. I don't think we obviously haven't seen the best of Frank, but we haven't seen Frank really get up and down the floor as much as we should. And I think if Frank starts to get up and down the floor, we're going to see a different game from him, because I think his mentality of playing the game is good for running the fast break. The way he passes, the way he can see the floor, his basketball IQ, it's good for playing transition basketball and moving up and down the floor. Raza, you said Frank was pushing the pace when he was playing with Hardaway a bit tonight, which was nice. Yeah, yep. And I think, you get Trey Burke, Frank, and Tim Hardaway on the floor. I think you'll see them guys be able to push the ball up the floor, score in transition. And I think when Frank starts to do that and he attacks a little bit more, we'll really see the best from Frank. You said only because Westchester Knicks is void of a point guard now. Yeah, that's true. They can send Baker down. Yeah, they could send Baker down there. And they don't have a point guard now, so they'll be looking to do something. Mark, you say Frank's not that smart? Really? Have you been watching him play? I think he has a pretty good basketball IQ. He's going to make mistakes like any rookie would. He's 19 years old. He's going to make mistakes, and he's playing against, grown men between 25 and 35. So he's going to make mistakes, but I think that, he has a pretty good basketball IQ. He has the right idea. He doesn't have to be the smartest player that the Knicks have right now. I agree with you there. I think Jarrett Jack is probably the smartest player that we have as far as basketball IQ, but he has a good basketball IQ. You say Frank plays defense better than elite guards in the league. I think Frank is going to be an elite defensive guard in the league if he's not already. And for that alone is one reason you don't send him to the G League, in my opinion. You said he's not ready for 82. Yeah, what rookie is though? I agree. He may not be ready for 82 games. He may be But I think you got to play it. That's how he's going to build up the endurance. And even though he's not ready for 82 games, he's only playing 21 minutes a game anyway. So it's not like he's playing every game. He's playing 35, 40 minutes a game. He's playing like 21 minutes a game. The past few games has been about 16 minutes a game. Who else on the league has a better IQ than Jarrett Jack than Jersey? Who do you think has a better IQ than Jarrett Jack? Jarrett Jack, I think he has a really good basketball IQ. He may not have the ability to do some of the things that his brain is telling him to do. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's a pretty smart player. He's able to get us in. He's still able. He hasn't been playing. Well, he played well tonight, but his turnovers have been. His turnovers have been picking up, and that's of course concerning. But I think that he's an intelligent basketball player. He knows how to get us into spots and get us into good positions. He's got to do it. He's got to do it in the fourth quarter, of course. Yeah. He's getting over major knee surgery. Jack. He just doesn't have the physical attributes right anymore. You know what I mean? He can't run. He's an old guy, man, with knee surgery. You know what I'm saying? Should be coming off the bench for a good team, not starting for a bad one. Who are you saying? Jarrett Jack should be coming off the bench for a good team? You know what? He could. I can guarantee you right now, Cleveland would take Jarrett Jack in a second right now. Because they need point guard help. He would. They would take him in a second if he was available. They'd take Jarrett Jack. They're using Jose Calderon, who is a good basketball player. He's not good defensively, you know what I'm saying? But he's a good basketball player. He's a smart basketball player. He can knock down the three. But they would take Jarrett Jack. That's a good question, Anthony Williams. At this point, earlier in the season, I would give a bona fide yes that Jarrett Jack is helping Frank. You know what I mean? But right now, my question to you guys, or Anthony's question to you guys, is Jarrett Jack helping Frank right now? I would say, yeah. He still is probably mentoring Frank and is still helping Frank. He's still teaching Frank. And I think this is a prime time where he can help Frank. I think that, in this time of the Knicks not playing well is when a point guard, whether or not he's starting or coming off the bench, a point guard like Jarrett Jack can help Frank, teach Frank how to continue to work hard, stay positive, just stay the course, regardless of whether or not you're winning or losing. I think someone like Jarrett Jack can help Frank in that manner right now. Right now. Emmanuel, you say Jack is a better coach than Hornacek. I don't know. You never know. Mark Starks, you say playing time is what he needs more than anything. Who are you talking about there? You talking about Frank? Who are you talking about there? Frank's Unicorn, you say, but Frank after the All-Star game, if we're not close to 8th, you give the keys to Frank. I definitely agree. I think this month is going to be the sign. This is going to be the time. This is going to be when I think the management is going to decide the direction they're going to go, if they're just going to try to win with the young guys or if they're going to continue to use the vets, depending on what happens by the end of this month. And the reason I say that is because the trade deadline is before All-Star break. Trade deadline is February 8th. So I think they're gonna have the decision made by February 8th. They're gonna know what they're doing. Who's Mark? You said Perry's not bringing who? Jarrett Jack back? I'm not too quick to say that, honestly. If Jarrett Jack wants to come back, I think Scott Perry may bring him back. You know what I mean? I think that he was gonna bring Scott Perry was gonna bring Jarrett Jack to Sacramento. Oh, the coach. Okay, the coach. The coach, yeah. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. I think Perry is looking to do things right. But, back to Jarrett Jack, I think that Jarrett Jack could be brought back next year. He won't be the starter, but I think he could be brought back, as, a mentor. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? As a mentor. As far as Hornacek, we're going to see the game one way. We don't know exactly what their discussions are like and the way that they are planning for this team. I'm not ready to say that Hornacek will not be back next year. Scott Perry may want to let's put it like this. To play the type of game that Hornacek wants to play, he may not have the exact players that he wants to play, that he wants right now. And maybe I wouldn't put it past Scott Perry and those guys to say, you know what, let us give us a chance, and we're gonna give you a chance to get some of the players that you like to play the style of basketball that you like and see the way it works then. Because guys like Lance Thomas was brought in under Phil Jackson's philosophy. Even people are going to say Frank, but Frank to me can play in any kind of basketball system. I think because he's so versatile, he can play in any kind of basketball system. Guys, Kyle Quinn was brought in under Phil Jackson's philosophy. Of course, Joakim Noah was brought in under Phil Jackson's philosophy. So I think that Scott Perry may give a little bit of time to get some players that Jeff wants. To get some players that Jeff can coach the way that he wants to coach. So I think we'll probably see Jeff for one more year. Now, would I be surprised if it happens? No. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. But I think that we probably see Jeff for at least another year to see how it goes. Would I place any loss blame on the coach? Definitely. I think that rotations are always going to be an issue. Well, a way to evaluate the coach. Rotations, how he uses players, the positions that he puts players in, the way he's able to motivate players. I think that's always going to be a way to determine whether or not a coach is doing well. And sometimes those factors go into if you win or lose a game. Part of the thing with KP is in the fourth quarter, I'm not sure Jeff Hornacek always knows how to use them. I'm not sure Jeff Hornacek is able to put them in the right positions to succeed. I don't know if he's always helping them. Yes, I put a lot on KP. I'm not going to lie. I do. And I'm questioning whether or not KP has certain intangibles. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just questioning it. But also, Jeff Hornacek's got to help put him in the right position as well. Jeff Hornacek has got to find ways to get him free so that he's not always trying to, or the Knicks aren't always just going to him to try to isolate off of a mismatch or isolate in the pinch post. Jeff Hornacek has got to put some things in, and the coaching staff has got to put some adjustments in to help him. So definitely losses. I would put some of these losses on Coach Hornacek. But every year there's going to be losses on every coach in the NBA. Every coach is going to make mistakes. Even Popovich is going to make mistakes. And the coach may lose a game or two every year. Each coach in the league It just happens that way. You know, no coach is perfect, and games. You get caught up in certain things happen in games, and you make mistakes and things like that. So there's always going to be a mistake made by coaches. You're right. You're right, who's Mark. You're definitely right. He took him out in the finals. I remember that. There's gonna be mistakes made by coaches. So coaches can definitely win or lose games. Yeah. Hornacek, we'll see. I don't know. I definitely do not believe that Hornacek is going to be out by the end of this season. I don't think so, unless something just wild happens. But I think that Hornacek will definitely play throughout this season and will most likely be back next season. That's what I think. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't come back next season, but I think that he probably will. I think they have a plan, and they're going to be looking to try to get some players in that fit the way that Hornacek wants to play. You said Hornacek is going to build the team that he wants or close to that, and he'll find the appropriate coach. And that could be, right? That could be too. Who knows what their plans are, what they're looking to do. I know Hornacek mentioned a few months back, talked about, what did he talk about? 3 years down the line. And it sounded like, that was a plan that they discussed as a team. So we'll see. We'll see. Stanley Johnson. I'm up in the air about Stanley Johnson. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not sure. And maybe he just needs a change of scenery. I'm still up in the air about him. I think it would depend on what we're giving up for him. I know he's a great defender, really good defender. And my only concern, and he's 21. You're right, he's 21. My concern are his shooting percentages. Knowing that we want to play right now, Mike Murphy, he's a younger Lance Thomas. But he doesn't have a jump shot. He shoots like 38% from the field, and even less from 3-point from 3-point land. So that concerns me about Stanley Johnson. And I think if we're giving up, I think that we want to try to find a two-way player in that spot. In that 3 spot. I think that's what I think we should be looking for. I mean, they don't play him like an option, maybe because he can't shoot. I don't know. Maybe they could use him better. But I'm still up in the air. I know he's probably not making a lot of money. I think it's like $2 million a year or something like that. He's on his rookie contract. If you can get a decent deal, maybe you do give him a chance. How do I feel about us acquiring Kemba Walker? I've spoken about this a few times. I really do think that Kemba Walker fits exactly what Jeff Hornacek wants to do, but I don't think it's the right timing for us and Kemba Walker. Because Kemba Walker makes $12 million a year. He'll get paid $12 million this year, $12 million next year. And then it'll be that he's going to want to get paid for real. That $12 million is not going to work anymore. He's going to want to get paid a big contract. And then we're going to cripple ourselves for the future. So I don't think that the time is right for Kemba Walker. Because Kemba Walker's 27, going to be 28 years old or something. When he goes to a team, he's going to be expecting that they can put some players around him to win. And we're not in that position right now. We're just not there. You say you're waiting for Kyrie. I don't know if that's going to, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I think Kyrie will probably stay in Boston. I don't think he's going to leave to come to the Knicks. He'd be perfect for us right now. I'm not going to lie about that. He'd be a really good player for us right now, but I don't think he's coming to the Knicks. And plus, you gotta pony up for Kyrie too. Would it be worth it? Probably so. But you got to pony up for him, and so you got to find that in your in your salary cap. So maybe 2020, like someone said, maybe 2020 could be that year, and by that time, maybe he's that guy. You know, who knows? Who knows, man? Maybe he's that guy. We talk about 2020, and maybe that's the year that KP is really the KP that we all hope he can be. Tim Hardaway Jr. is that guy. And Frank, was playing really. Frank is coming into his own, and then maybe a guy like Kyrie comes in and puts it over the top. Who knows? Kelly Oubre, I really like Kelly Oubre. I like him, and he's I like his athleticism. He can play some defense, get up and down the floor. I like him. You say no, he's a player. Who you talking about, Mark? Kyrie is a free agent in 19. See, if he's a free agent in 2019, it's not happening. And we don't have no money. The money's not there. The money's definitely not there. Anyone that you would be trading for Kyrie in 2019 would be people that you want to pair with Kyrie, that you want to put with Kyrie, so it wouldn't make sense to trade for him. Because then, teams would be, well, give us KP or give us Hardaway and another young guy, and it wouldn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? For someone like, for Kyrie, you're going to want to do 2020 when you have money to just sign him outright and not worry about having to do a sign and trade or anything like that. In 19, you're going to have to do some signing and trading. Yeah, Kelly is tough. Kelly Oubre is tough. All right. Well, listen, guys. It was a disappointing loss. I'm disappointed about it. I love the debates that we had today. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you don't agree with me, please debate with me. I like that. You know what I mean? But just know that it's always all in love. It's all in love. That's what the whole thing. Debating is good. But I'm going to log off. I appreciate it. Hey, I love doing the podcast. I love jumping on. I'm glad everybody came on. Everyone who hit me off in the super chat, man, thank you. I'm saying I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, that all goes back to, it's all always going back to the channel. You know what I mean? You say you're going to jump on and do one. It's all going back to the channel. And, we're going to keep making the channel grow. I'm going to be on tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks play at 3:30 tomorrow, I believe it is. I'll be on afterwards. I'll be on the road. And I'll, make a stop and get on and do the show. And then I will be back in the studio on, Wednesday. Now, you don't need a computer to go live, Who's Mark. You can use your phone. Yeah, you can use your phone. So, but I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll definitely be back. Man, dang, Rudy, for another loss. I hope not, man. We're playing Brooklyn. It's a team that we should beat, right? It's Martin Luther King's Day. You know what? We usually do ML King Day at the Garden. What's up with that? You know what I mean? What's up with that? We're doing it in Brooklyn. What's up with that? But anyway, I'm going to log off. And let's take it easy. Let's try to get over it for the night. It was an early game, so you got a lot of time tonight to relax. Got a day off. Hopefully you got a day off tomorrow. Alonzo, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, man. Peace.